FX welcomes you back to Richmond, and this is a Visa race break. We're under caution, a little bit of rain in the area. Bobby Labonte leading. Gone through 152 laps. Rusty Wallace right behind him, followed by Joe Nemechek and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Moments ago, we heard from Jimmy Spencer. We saw the, he's thought of as a tough, burly kind of driver. Mr. Excitement of the Pontiac Excitement 400. Jimmy Spencer never forgets, but has time to remember people that are less fortunate. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about Jimmy Spencer over the years, a driver who has gained a lot of popularity, a veteran guy who's always entertaining to watch.
Well, he's one of those guys that kind of came out of the Northeast, and he really has run well, but at the same time, he's always been kind of perceived as a rough and tough and always beating and banging his way to the front. And a lot of times people kind of misunderstand Jimmy. I mean, he does have a very softer side to him. He's very personable when you get him away from the racetrack, when he's around other folks and everything. So I think Jimmy right now is really trying to work on his people skills and try to get things where people understand that, hey, I'm not necessarily a bad guy, but he is a tough race car driver.
And an emotional and passionate guy, and somebody who cares about his profession and takes the time to help out other people, as we mentioned, for the past decade, actually over past 10 years, twice a year, Jimmy comes to Richmond not only to race, but to have breakfast with his good friend, 14-year-old Sammy Anderson, at a McDonald's from across the racetrack. Sammy was diagnosed with a degenerative bone disease at a very young age. Doctors gave him a very short time to live. But since meeting Jimmy at the age of 4, he seems to have had maybe another reason or so to live or to fight on. And Jimmy's generosity has gone further than just breakfast. He sent the family to Disney World twice and has kept in constant contact with Sammy, and of course part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and a nicer side of Jimmy Spencer away from the track that certainly is appreciated. Just about 2 to go, so hopefully with this rain, if it doesn't disturb the track enough,
right,
we might see them go back. We're what, 154 laps in, and you see a little bit of the rain and the lights here. Yeah. What should we expect, and how? Talk about the mentality of racing the rain. Once you get halfway, 200 laps, at least the race is official if it needed to be called.
Yeah, now right now it's what a lot of these guys are trying to do, and unfortunately for Bobby Labonte, I mean, he really got off pit road well and got an opportunity right now. He's leading the race, and track position is so important that this could be exactly what he's looking for. They get ready to go back to green. It should be real interesting, and one of the guys right now that's been kind of struggling is old Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and let's check in with Matt. He's with Robbie Loomis. Matt?
Jeff Gordon all the way back in 16th. Robbie Loomis, what's wrong with the race car tonight?
Hey, the DuPont Chevrolet's been extremely loose, and we think we got to tighten up a little bit better right there. We're working on getting the rubber out of the right rear. Jeff said if we just get a little drive off and it'll be real good. I'd like to ask everyone to pray for Jerry Nadeau and Jay to say hello to her. And our thoughts with that.
All right, thanks very much. And certainly Jeff Gordon, who wanted Martinsville before he went to California, hoping to stay in the points race. You're watching a Visa race break, and let's take a quick look back at how things went on lap 44. Steve Park, second week in a row, all alone here, spins out.
Yeah, loses right there in one, and up against the wall he goes, and he's out of the race, the first car out today.
And then we had 14 cautions, his track record yesterday in the Busch Series. Another caution here. Jack Sprague gets bumped by Kyle Petty. Bodine also involved.
Yeah, both those guys that went around were able to continue on lap number 99. Our current leader at the time, Ryan Newman, loses the rear gear, forced to go behind the wall, make the pairs.
Anytime you have a rear end problem, could be embarrassing. All right, and then a lead change here. Kurt Busch passing Joe Nemechek, one of the Roush racers.
Yeah, he's been making his march to the front right there, showing himself to be very, very strong as he takes the lead in Joe Nemechek.
And the frustration, we talked about Jimmy Spencer, a soft inside. He was maybe wishing for a softer wall. Now, look, Larry McReynolds speculated maybe a tire problem there.
Yeah, just look by the way the sparks were. You see how disgusted Jimmy was right there. He knew he had a good race car, but the right front goes down, and you can't make the car turn, and up into the wall you go. And right here you're looking at Kurt Busch. They had trouble on the right front right there, and it cost him. He was running really good and came out back in 8th place.
And Labonte, your leader. Let's go back upstairs, rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
That leader will be Bobby Labonte. He and Rusty Wallace. You saw what happened to the top 5 as they came in. Earnhardt Jr. back to 4th, Kurt Busch to 8th.
Yeah, I mean, right there. I mean, Bobby Labonte's group had a great pit stop, but pit selection had a lot to do with it. We're going back green here on lap 157.
Could be a little treacherous here with that bit of rain, and this track's a little slick already.
Everybody tiptoes into turn 1. You're watching from Michael Waltrip's front bumper.
Well, we've already seen Michael get kind of crossed up in front of these guys. He needs to take it kind of easy here.
Yeah, of course, he was up there trying to get his lap back, but Darrell, he's already lost position to Rusty Wallace, and there's more coming.
Ooh, Nemechek got bumped by Dale Jr. No harm, no foul. Just everything squares up going into one.
Well, what happens, Mike, is you nail the throttle, and all of a sudden the car pushes or maybe gets a little loose. You got to squeeze up a little bit, and the guy behind you gets into you.
Not much margin for error here, Darrell.
No.
Short track, but gosh.
You see how close together you run, and you're going really fast. You can't just stop. Well, you can if somebody's in front of you, but... Oh, there you go. There's a 19 car.
Jeremy Mayfield.
Nice. Don't know that he hit anything, but he sure got way out of the groove.
But boy, we have seen that so many times, especially right over in turn 2.
There's just a spot over there that you do not want to get in.
I mean, look at him stacking up behind him down in 3 and 4.
He was going to try to turn down pit lane and realized that wasn't a good idea.
We're getting a report that he probably has a tire down.
He better be sure, because when you get up out of the groove like that, you pick up a lot of debris. We saw there on the caution.
Bobby Labonte, the leader. Rusty Wallace second. Joe Nemechek third. Here's Dick Bergman.
And Rusty Wallace hasn't won in 2 years, but he has won here at Richmond 6 times. Right now, he's running in second spot. He has just heard from his crew chief, Billy Wilburn, who has told him that there is rain coming. Go to the front. They want Rusty to be leading. Matt.
Well, Big Tony Stewart has a lot of work to do if he's going to get his 4th Richmond victory. He has now climbed to 19th on that last stop. He was complaining about the car being tight in the center and extremely loose up off. They pulled 2 spring rubbers out of the right rear, made a half a round down on the track bar, and also shuffled the air pressure. He actually even worked on the brake bias so much that the car had started to get the brakes extremely hot. But Stewart now is starting to make a little bit of a move. But remember back to last year when he won here. He was not very good in the first 3 quarters of the race, but he and crew chief Greg Cifadelli didn't give up, and they worked in that race car and took it to victory lane.
Pole sitter Terry Labonte, the 5 on the outside. Backing up a bit, Bill Elliott's going to go by him on the inside. And here comes Rusty.
And you know, it just takes some of these cars a lap or two to get going. The air is so low. If you get below, I think Rusty told me 14 pounds, the car was just almost undrivable.
I tell you what, looking out at Rusty Wallace and Joe Nemechek in the 25, I think somebody told Joe, hey, it's only 36 laps to halfway, because he just set the fastest lap that this race has seen, that lap right there.
Terry Labonte just went to the tail end of the pack. Slow up there on the outside.
It just looks like some of these crews made some adjustments on that caution, that last one, and they went the wrong way.
And Dave Blaney got high up in turn 2, and he went back about 9 positions.
And what's happening, Mike, they get up out of the groove. They get up high down here in 2, and they start complaining about a flat tire, but that's not the problem. They're just picking up all that debris. Takes them a lap or 2 to get it burnt back off.
A big knot of cars from Kurt Busch on back. Casey Mears and Matt Kenseth trying to bust through traffic there. They're 2 and 3 wide. This has all the makings of something exciting right here.
Tell you what, though, looking at Casey Mears in that 41 car, he showed that good qualifying run was not a fluke, because, I mean, he's still up there running in the top 10 and 9th position.
And the reason for this logjam, Michael Waltrip is a bit slow getting off 2 on the outside, and they stack up right there. Michael's doing all he can.
Yeah, I think
they're packing up behind him.
I think he'd like to get out of the way, but he can't.
There is no out of the way.
No, not right now. You get run over if you do. You get run over if you don't.
Greg Biffle on the move. He's the 2nd rookie in this race. He's 11th to Casey Mears' 9th place. He's had a good evening. Biffle in 11th, and Kenny Wallace coming right in behind him.
Wallace, Kenny's car was really good in happy hour, and he's had a pretty good car this weekend.
I mean, he really has. I mean, he qualified in 14th position, and this is a team that definitely needs a good run. But, you know, Kenny's won 3 Busch races here, but 18 Winston Cup starts, not a single top 10 finish.
Jeff Green battling Kenny Wallace, 12th place.
And I tell you, you're right, Mike. I believe Greg Biffle is a car that's definitely on the move in that 16 car. Riding with Robbie Gordon right here. He's back in the 37th position. Remember, he's 3 laps down.
The Roush Fords right now are 5th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and Mark Martin 23rd. Up front, Bobby Labonte, just 4/10 up on Joe Nemechek. Rusty Wallace, 1.1 seconds back. Dale Jr., 1.3 behind.
Riding with Matt Kenseth right here. He's in the 10th position. I guarantee you, if anybody's looking for long green runs, we talk about this almost every single week with Matt Kenseth. He just gets, it's not that he gets stronger, his car just don't give up like some of the other cars.
Last week, after the last caution on the restart, he fell back to about 15th, 16th place, but he finished 9th.
Now the 0, Jack Sprague, is a lap down as Kenny Wallace tries to get past. Here's a couple of champions. Tony Stewart, the defending Winston Cup champ, chasing Bill Elliott.
I mean, Bill Elliott, he started back in 28th, but remember he had to go to the rear of the field because of an engine change. And I mean, he's up to 18th, but he's coming off that good run at Fontana, and I think he has a little bit of momentum on him as well. Hearing that the rain's picking up just a little bit. We're 25 laps from halfway, because these guys are really going to step it up and get racy now.
Trying to keep a lot of heat in the racetrack as Bobby Labonte leads Joe Nemechek by 0.6 of a second. This is NASCAR on FX.